society's expectations of what we should be, what we should do, what we should think, what we should be. We've kind of lost ourselves, and that's why I'm making this video. Before I do that, I'm going to light a candle to set the vibe. I have a new candle from Marshall's, and it's called Midnight Magic, a magical blend of moonstone and sage, and I kind of think better when I have a candle near me. So let's light it. Right. Always cut the wig. I don't know if you know that, but my mom taught me how to cut, or not how to cut the wig, because I know how, but she taught me that I should always cut it, because if you don't, it can be crazy flames. Oh, I think it's actually sitting on. Oh no. Alright. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you and tell you how to get to know yourself, but towards the end of this video, you can find in the timestamp, so it's not gonna be a surprise. I'm going to be asking you questions, not those videos of like asking you questions, but 10 self-discovery and awareness questions that I answer at the beginning of each year and kind of review it throughout the year. So you can write them down, or you can just answer in your head. But, if you also are coming here without knowing yourself at all, these might be challenging questions, but I would like you to just always have them in the back of your mind, because they're deep questions that are really going to help you get to know who you are and what you value and who you are in this lifetime. So I have my notes right here, so if you don't mind, I am going to be looking at them. Let's vibe, let's relax, and let's talk about it. It's already 2 minutes in and we haven't talked about it. So, like I said in the beginning, it is hard to differentiate who you are without society telling you who you should be, because too many times we go into things with the opinions of what other people would think in our mind. We stop ourselves from doing things that we might want to do because of what other people would think. We either have our parents in our minds, society, social media, our teachers, our friends, our partner. We have so many opinions clouding us from who we truly are. And life is like an echo chamber of perceptions. Listen closely. An echo chamber of perceptions is this: I am not who I think that I am. I am not who you think I am. I am what I think that you think I am. I'll say that one more time. I'm not, or let's go like this. You're not who you think you are. You're not who I think you are. You are who you think that I think you are. Practically an illusion. We are living in this mass illusion of assumptions of what you are thinking that other people think that you are. Therefore, we kind of set this identity of not thinking, about who we truly are and our sense of self. And, if we struggle with knowing who we are, we probably struggle with the mass opinion of other people. Whether that be, like I said, your parents, the people close to you, your siblings, your friends, your teachers, society, social media. We are clouded with this illusion of what do they think I am. What does this person think that I am? Let's say you're in a social event. You think about what people's opinions of you is. So let's say I'm out and I'm with a lot of people. I'm not what I think that I am, and I'm not what they think I am, because I will never know their perception of me, but I make an assumption based on what I think that they think that I am, and then I become that, and that is the cloud of illusion. I don't know if you understood that. I hope you did. It's kind of like a hard thing to wrap move on from it. But this is like, this is the basis of losing ourselves. This is the basis of not knowing who we are, and I don't blame you, because for the longest time I didn't know who I was, because I have always been worried about what other people think I am. If people think I am something, then I am this. And we get lost in this mass illusion. We get hypnotized, we get brainwashed into thinking that we also should be something, which I'll talk about in a moment. But take this in one more time because it's very important. It's called the echo chamber of perceptions. It's this illusion. It's not the truth. Because you're never gonna know what people think. Ever, 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 ever. So, I wish I had my phone to search up the actual definition, but it's practically like identifying with something based off just opinion and thought and nothing else. Like, not having any open opposition of what people think that you are, what you think you are. Oh my gosh, this episode is confusing. Alright, I'm saying it one more time, okay? So, let's say I'm just going downstairs with my family, okay? Let's say, I have some siblings. I have 2 siblings. Let's say my dad's here, my mom. Let's say I go down there and, I become not what I think, or not what they actually think of me, but of what I think that they think of me. Let's say I think that they think I am a lazy person. Therefore, I satisfy that behavior because of what they think, and I care what they think. Therefore, I become that. This illusion that I actually don't know what they truly think, and we constantly are. If we don't know ourselves, it has to be in some form, because we are just satisfying what other people think. We are fulfilling others' wants and needs, and caring about their opinions. So many times people don't chase what they truly want, and then they lose what they truly want because of this whole people pleasing. But so many times people don't chase their dreams because they care what people think, and they just constantly live by this idea of an illusion of what is right, what is wrong, what other people want for you, what you think people will think. Let's say, for example, with this YouTube channel, I could have not made it because I care what people think. They'll judge me, they'll think I'm weird because I create ASMR, so I shouldn't do it because I'll be this if I do it, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna go the safe route, go to college, get a real job. Let's say I stop myself from, fulfilling a passion because I think that people will think that it's weird, so I don't do it. Then I get lost in society and lost in other people's opinions, and then I lose myself. Does that relate in any sense? Because that is one of the biggest reasons why people don't know who they are. Because also social media, wow, like, social media has really hypnotized us. We really think that we have to be this in order to be this. We have to be skinny in order to be pretty. We have to be having a full-time job in order to be successful. We have to go to college in order to, make a lot of money. Let's just get that out of here. Alright, let's move on with getting to know yourself, because all of that, forget about it. We can be anything we want to be. We get to decide. Now, in the echo chamber of perceptions of not knowing oneself, there is no sense of self. There is no sense of fully embracing and choosing what you want, because this doesn't have to, this doesn't always have to resonate, okay, because this is only to some level, but it's not always the truth. But it's mostly, I'm going off of experience also, but, also kind of some truths, you may have this experience, because if you don't know yourself, it's not always likely, but most likely to be, because you are clouded by the opinions of what you think people will think. So it's like caring what people think and not following who you truly are, and getting lost in society because they're so brainwashing. So there is no sense of self in this echo chamber of perceptions. assumptions, victim of illusions, victim of being someone you don't want to be based off what you think people will like. You know, you have many selves, many people you show up as to please different audiences, maybe because you are overthinking about what you think they want. And I'm not saying that showing up in a different behavior in different environments around different people is bad. To some level, you have to do that. You know, in a work environment versus at home, with your friends versus with your significant other, it's always different. But when I'm talking about the echo chamber perceptions, I'm talking about you show up completely not knowing where you fit in, and you act based on what you think people want to see. And therefore, you lose more of yourself because you feel this inauthenticity. So getting to know yourself is not about, you know, adding on all of these layers of what you think people want or what you think you should be. It's about peeling back the opinions of what you think. Thinking is not always right. You know, most of the time it's really not right. It's just our ego trying to protect us, which I have multiple episodes which I'll talk about in a second on the ego and like why your thoughts are not you, because your thoughts are not you. That's the first level of discovering who you are. Your thoughts are just a program of your past. Okay, I don't even have this written down, but I think it's very important that I say this. Your thoughts are just a program of everything you've learned in your past. Ages 0 to 7, let's talk about that. That is when your subconscious mind was being formed. Your subconscious mind is your memories, your beliefs, your sense of self, your identity, everything that you think you are, everything that you think society is. This is where we learned. Ages 0 to 7, we were a sponge. We were completely hypnotized. That is why our imagination was great. That is why kids always ask why, because they're getting to learn the world. If your parents said that, oh, you're so stupid because you got a bad grade, you become that identity. You think you're that. You think you're dumb. And there's many, many crazy stories about someone that, you know, got the wrong test. There's a story, I'm going to say it real quick, about this guy who took this test in middle school. I think it was like the Keystones or some big test. And he got the wrong test back. And what was it? He got the wrong test back and he did great. You know, it said he did great. Like, I guess got an A or whatever. And all of a sudden he thought he was smart. And so he went through school succeeding, doing great, straight A's, like very, very smart. People told him that he was smart because of, you know, this test, this keystone. He saw back to him that he was smart because he got a great grade. Therefore, he had this identity like, oh wow, I did good. I'm smart. And then he ended up getting like straight A's through high school and everything. And then went to college. I don't know the details, but this is a true story. And then in his 20s, he found out that he got the wrong test back in middle school. And he actually did horrible. His test, he got the wrong test, and he found out later, in his later years, and realized that he actually did really bad on the test. But he had this identity of being smart because of it. Therefore, he fulfilled that identity because that's what he saw mirrored back to him. Yet it was the wrong test. He actually probably wasn't that smart, but because of the identity and that test, he fulfilled that role in his life and he was so successful. So where I'm getting with this is like when we are young, you know, the things that we do, we form these identities not just by what we do in school, but what our teachers say, what our parents say, the way our parents treat us. If they treat us poorly, then we become this, we have this lack of self-love, for example, and we grow up with this story in our head of what we think we are. Yet the mind is just this program, but it's not truly who we think we are. We can adapt to many stories, but knowing yourself is about discovering discovering your stories and disidentifying with the thoughts, because I, for the longest time, held this thought that I was stupid because I got a bad grade in kindergarten. But let's say I got a good grade, okay? I talked about this in another episode, but I remember being so embarrassed about that test. I stuffed it in my folder, I hid it away, and I remember feeling shame and stupid in that moment and embarrassed because I did so bad. All throughout school, I wasn't like horrible, but I wasn't good. My grades were not the best. I would say they're average, but I copied, and I copied. Don't take that. I don't know, but let's say I got a good grade. What would my story be? It would probably be that I'm smart, and I probably would have tried harder in school, and to this day I probably would identify as being smart, but I don't. I've learned to overcome this story and change it, but we have to discover our stories about ourselves and disidentify with our thoughts first. But I kind of went on this whole side tangent when I really wanted to talk about, we're gonna go back, but I think it was very important to emphasize that your thoughts that tell you that you're this and that and lazy or ugly or, whatever those thoughts are, it's not the truth. And it's also not the truth because all you're doing is just thinking about what you think people are thinking, yet it's not reality, okay? Or you're just caught up in your mind about what society, says is right and wrong and what you should do and what's beautiful, etc. But that's also program, and that's opinion, and there's no really right or wrong of what things are. They just are, and we get to form our view on it. But we're caught up in this mass illusion, this mass view of thoughts and programs. You're not your thoughts, let me just tell you that. So that's step number 1 of getting to know yourself. But whole side tangent, I talk about it in another episode. I think it is episode 10, where I talk about thoughts and how you're not them. If you want to go check that out, feel free. But we're not going to talk about that in this episode, even though I just did for a few minutes. So we become the assumptions of what the outside world thinks that we are. We're not that. Okay, we're much more than that. You are much more than that. Now, I'm going to give you a sentence, and we're going to talk about why there's so many things wrong with this sentence, okay? Alright, so, quote, I am a loser and not doing anything with my life because I dropped out of college and don't have a real job. Let me say that again. I am a loser and not doing anything with my life because I dropped out of college and don't have a real job. Let's take that sentence in and examine it. What is wrong with this statement? Okay, so let's start with the word loser. Who is to say what a loser is? Who's to say? There's so many identifications. Nerd, popular, loser, cool, this, that, so many identifications that are simply just opinion based. And yeah, maybe a lot of people think, oh, this is what this is, but it's actually all comes down to being an opinion, okay? No one is superior to say that. Let's say people call you a loser. No one is superior to say that you are that. They don't get to decide. Let's go to the next one. Not doing anything. So, I'm a loser because I'm not doing anything with my life. Okay? Not doing anything. People would view me on YouTube not having a real job as not doing anything. Who's to say I'm not doing anything? Okay? Now, how would they know too? How would they know? A stranger can make a totally crazy assumption about you based off of their program, their thoughts. They're not their thoughts, I'm all about respecting everyone and just letting them be. If you don't agree with them, who cares? Because we just all have different lives and nothing is right or wrong. But if they're being rude and say you're not doing anything, forget about it. Because how do they know? Like, truly, no one gets to put these opinions on you. That's the whole key about getting to know yourself, is peeling off these assumptions that people make and saying they actually don't know the behind the scenes of me. And everyone just projects their number one insecurities as well as projecting their own beliefs of what they think you should be doing, but they're not superior either. I don't care what they do, I don't care how much they make, I don't care their level of experience, I don't care their college degree. It doesn't matter. We're all experiencing different lives, okay? And every life is important and has value. You have value. And other people's opinions about what they think you should be is none of your business, because it's not their life, okay? Not doing anything is very, I'm not good with the words subjective and objective. I think it's objective. Yeah, not doing anything is an objective opinion. It's like a biased opinion because they don't know who you truly are, okay? Next, dropped out. So, I'm a loser, not doing anything because I dropped out of college. We have this assumption that people are stupid when they drop out of college because the mass, I guess, believes that the only way to be successful is if you go to college. The only way to make money is if you go to college. Once again, that is only an assumption of what the mass thinks and believes. Fact and fiction doesn't always have to be fact and fiction. Success does not equal college, okay? And why I'm saying all of this is because I am disempowering the stories that you may tell yourself and disempowering the stories of society, because getting to know yourself is getting rid and proving these thoughts wrong, which again I'll talk about in a moment. But last but not least, I am a loser and not doing anything with my life because I dropped out of college and don't have a real job. Real job. Just because of the masses' opinion whether something is competent or not. And this is a problem. Most people don't go for what they want because they think, oh, I won't be successful in it, or it's not a real thing. Like YouTube is not a real job. It's not a real this, real that. I don't even, like, people constantly neglect who they are, and this is why we get lost and don't know who we are, because we're just taking on the assumptions of what society says is good, bad, competent, or not. So we neglect our inner desires and passions and dreams in hopes to please society, or because we don't believe in ourselves. But I think it all comes down to, and I'm not saying this so that you can be victim to your life and society, but it also comes down to you don't believe in yourself because society made you not believe in yourself, because society says it's not possible. We have such strong stories around other people's opinions that it just clouds us so much and disempowers us so much as well. So life is not about adding on layers to get to know yourself, adding on things. It's about removing layers to find yourself, because you cannot find yourself unless you are lost. And if something is lost, what do? You remove things in order to find it. Let's say your kitchen cabinet where it has all the food. You want to find something. You're not going to be adding things to the cabinet. You're going to be removing things in order to find what you're looking for. Finding yourself is about removing these stories, these, reasons why we can't do things. It's about removing the weight of the world and peeling back layers in order to find what has been missing. You cannot find yourself unless you are lost. And in order to find something, you have to remove things, like removing these stories, okay? So, number one, I already said so much. I'm gonna move this later because it's in my way, but number one, what would I be if money didn't exist? If I can be successful in anything, and if people fully supported me? I want you to ask yourself that question, because I think sometimes when we don't know ourselves, it's because we have all of these excuses. this lifetime was 3 things that you wanted to be when you were a child. Like, name 3 things you wanted to be. And I don't know, sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. But personally, I wanted to be famous. Of course, the typical. I wanted to be a teacher as well. And what else was it? I don't even. Yeah, it's mainly. I wanted to be a singer and a dancer as well. But it was mainly famous and a teacher. And now, here I am. I have these podcast episodes because I do want to teach. I do want to have value. And I don't want to be like famous, but of course I want to grow on YouTube. It's like these little things as a child. But then we grow up not believing in ourselves constantly and getting hypnotized into what we think we should be doing. And we lose that. So I want you to ask yourself if you could be successful in anything. And everyone loved it. Everyone supported you. Everyone was like, go you. Like, this is amazing. And sometimes we lose ourselves because we think, I don't want to go through the hard journey. Nothing is real. I mean, everything is kind of hard, going to college, doing the typical path, or, chasing your dreams, what you actually want to do. Everything has its own challenges, but it's about commitment. So ask yourself, if money didn't exist either, what would you be doing? Like, what do you want to do? And if you don't know yourself and you can't answer that question, that is okay. Let's move on to number 2. This isn't the question part, by the way, but and when I ask you that, you also might not only not know, but you might not know in manifestation of it's just you're having resistance because you don't believe in yourself, or you have had so many judgments of yourself that you just completely resist that question because you don't see yourself as anything. A lot of the times we don't know ourselves because we go through a process of beating ourselves up. Insecurity, shame, guilt, destroying our dreams, destroying who we are based off of our life experiences. And we get lost in that, we start hating it. But I want you to really try and connect with your inner child and view yourself as separate, because the goal to getting to know yourself is it's like getting to know a boyfriend or girlfriend, a friend, a relationship. You're building a relationship through questions. And number 2 is journaling. I got to know myself a lot through journaling. And I know some people might think, oh my gosh, I don't want to journal. But I'm telling you, our mind's crazy. It's crazy. So many thoughts, so many opinions, so many outside sources in here. So I want you to ask yourself questions, and ask yourself mainly the question of why? Why do you feel this way about yourself? Why do you not know yourself? And just start journaling. Just start whatever. Brain dump on that paper. Let's say you don't believe that you can make a lot of money. Okay, let's just throw that out there as one example. Why can't I make a lot of money? Well, my parents didn't make a lot of money, and they always said that making money was hard, and that's the opinion of another person, that's the experience of another person. It doesn't have to be your experience, but your mind's program believed that the outside world showed what is possible, yet anything's really possible, and you get to create and decide that. But I want you to journal and brain dump your whys. Why do I feel that I am inferior? Why do I feel that I am ugly? Let's use ugly as an example. I feel I am ugly because, my friends are so pretty. They get a lot of attention. I don't get a lot of attention. And, I think that people think that I'm this. So just get in that loop of answering your whys. Why can't you do something? Why can't you be something? Dive into that. Your whys, okay? I actually, I wanted to write a book. I still do. I haven't given it much thought. But the book that I wanted to write, that I don't know if I will, but it's not actually called, but the idea is the why not method. So really, discovering why not. is, why can't I make a lot of money? And you realize your stories when you journal on your whys. You realize all these excuses that you've made up in your mind. You know, because my friends will judge me, because I'll lose people, etc., etc. Your whys are where your story's at, and your stories are gold because you can get rid of them and you can unsubscribe to them. You don't have to adapt to your stories, okay? Like I said, peeling back the corners of what you think you are, what you think that people think that you are. Life is about, and getting to know yourself is about peeling back the layers, okay? The layers of armor. So, I talk a lot about beliefs and thoughts and the stories in your mind and identifications. Write this down. I'll leave it in the description as well, but I talk a lot more about this in episodes 4. So in episode 4, I talk about I was a little vulnerable, but I talked about beliefs and why your life is the way that it is. So if you want to hear more about beliefs and, why you're not your thoughts and why your life is the way it is and why it's being reflected like this, go check out episode 4 and episode 9. I talk about the law of attraction. In this, I don't remember exactly, but I also probably talk about, your thoughts not being you and how to attract what you desire. Setting intentions, don't underestimate intentions. Setting the intentions of, let me know more about myself, and really just setting that energy throughout the day. Life will flirt with you, the universe will flirt with you, and help you get to know yourself. So, law of attraction, that is episode 9. And then in episode 10, if you want to learn more about the ego and the thoughts and the overthinking and your thoughts not being you, I talk a lot about that in that episode. I'm just recommending other resources because I do this. Getting to know yourself takes knowledge in your thoughts, knowledge of your mind, knowledge of what you can be and become. And, I really encourage you to just shed these layers of what you think that you are, what you think that people think that you are, because it's very confusing. And it's like, we have to have knowledge of our own mind. We know how to operate a vehicle, we know how to, do a job. We do crazy things in our lifetimes, but we don't know ourselves. Yet we're living in this body every day. I think it is really important to study the mind, see how it works, and, there's many different resources on that, but I would recommend going to watch episode 4, 9, and 10, where I talk about the ego and the overthinking, and then episode 14. Episode 14 is how to create massive change in your life. Oh, by the way, we're not done. I'm just telling you because it goes along with all the thoughts not being you, the stories, the beliefs of what you think you are. And if you want to get to know yourself, you have to shed these stories, shed your thoughts, and disidentify. Kind of like viewing your mind as an inner roommate. I recommend reading The Untethered Soul. I'm just giving resources right now. The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, as well as The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I would recommend maybe more, I like The Power of Now better, but for like I think The Untethered Soul is more understandable. So go check that out. He describes the thoughts as an inner roommate, just talking. The inner roommate of the world, talking in our minds, insecurities, doubts, fears, everything. But it's all an illusion. Anyway, so number 3, let's sum it up real quick. Number 1, what would I be if money didn't exist? If I could be anything, people would support me. Number 2, you ask these whys. Why do you want to be that? Why can't you be that? Discover your stories and journal on it. And number 3, try new things. Get outside of your comfort zone of what you think you're capable of. I have been trying to push past my limits and my fears to prove myself that I can do things, to prove to myself that, I'm more than my fears. as in like I'll jump off a cliff, or I'll try jump off a cliff into water. I tried this like surfing thing. Usually I wouldn't because I like being comfortable, but I tried this surfing thing, got a lot of water on my nose. But constantly try to prove to yourself that you're more than your fears and you can do things. You can do things, and to get out of that comfort zone, because then you'll discover your limits and you'll discover, wow, I'm stronger than I think. So I also recommend reading self-help books. So I just recommended 2, but I really recommend reading self-help books because you get to know your mind and the way that you function. And I think one of the most important things is getting to know yourself in life. And I may be biased, but I do think a big part of that is reading self-help books, self-discovery books, self-awareness books. So I would recommend that as a big start. But it's also good not to add anything. Like I said, it's to peel back layers. Journaling, removing these thoughts of what you think you are, and these negative beliefs about yourself, but also meditating, creating space within yourself. I know we probably underestimate the power of meditation. I do have an episode on how it changed my life, but meditation is about creating space for there to be new, more light to come in. In Kabbalah, which is an Jewish mysticism, I don't view it as a religion. I kind of just view it as like a spiritualism, but it talks about us being a vessel when our lives are so busy with thoughts and illusions, the echo chamber. When our lives are so filled, our vessel is small. We don't have much room for anything new. By meditating, we create space within our vessel for new inspirations and ideas and opportunities to come. We need to create space, because not knowing yourself and being lost, it's because clouded of judgment and thoughts and ideas and just illusions. So I highly recommend journaling and meditating, because the world is loud, society is loud, social media is loud, it's confusing, it's overwhelming, it's many things that we are not. So I highly recommend creating space to disidentify with everything that you've been told, because everything is just an opinion at the end of the day. Detox, meditate, right? I did a social media detox before. I know it's hard, but I do recommend that. Maybe you can keep YouTube to watch my videos, but I do recommend giving yourself space from social media, okay? Because we can get in a very reactive state, and social media can make us that way. So last but not least, number 5, that was number 4 by the way, creating space and meditating. Last but not least is taking personality tests. I can never say that. So this is kind of for fun, to have fun. I've gotten to know myself a lot through astrology, but it's like you can subscribe to certain things and you cannot. If I'm a Taurus and it says that I'm lazy, I don't have to actually take that as a truth. I want you to just take it as, I do believe in astrology. I'm not saying that you have to believe in it or you don't. I'm just saying for this one, the taking personality tests, to do it for fun, to do it for an extra little thing. Study your signs in astrology, or I highly recommend taking the 16 personality test. 16 personality test, write it down, maybe I'll have it in the description, but dive in with a playfulness. Getting to know yourself doesn't have to be serious. It's like, in relationships, you get to know the other person, right? It's not gonna be all seriousness. Like, you're gonna ask the deep questions, but you're gonna also have fun. What's your favorite? This, or like getting to know more of who they are through the silly side and just being less serious, Don't be so hard on yourself in this process of getting to know yourself. I know it can seem serious, but 16 personalities, astrology, dive into it, and you get to subscribe to the truth that you desire. You get to decide what is true for you and what's not. Ultimately, life in itself is an illusion, and we just get to create every day who we want to be. We do not have to be victims of the past self. We do not have to be victims of what we used to be or what we were yesterday even. Yesterday, I was so lazy. For the past weeks, I've been lazy, but today, I decide I'm not. My schedule is very productive. I get to create my reality. I get to create who I want to be, ultimately. Delete the stories, delete the opinions, and find yourself through peeling back the layers of what you were told that you have to be. Okay? Have fun in this journey. Treat yourself as a relationship with yourself. Have fun with yourself and understand your thoughts that are rude, that are disempowering. They are not you. You get to decide that. You get to produce thoughts, not get consumed by them. Now, I have one last thing. I'm just going to ask you 10 questions. Either you pause the video or you write them down. I'm not going to spend too much time, so I'd highly recommend pausing or just coming back later to reflect on it. Let's get my journal out. These are questions, like I said in the beginning. I reflect on them. And, whoa, that's a video right there. I reflect on them and I answer them in the beginning of the year with my law of attraction journal. So, reflect later, write them down, pause the video. So, number 1, what would I want to experience in life if time and money were not an issue? Number 2, how do I want to grow? Number 3, what do I want to contribute to this world? Number 4, there's like this arrow. Oh yeah, cat hair. Number 4, who am I? Why am I here? I know these are deep questions. Number 5, where am I going? How do I want to be remembered when I am gone? Number 6, if I achieved all of my life's goals, how would I feel? And how can I feel that along the way? Number 7, what is most important in my life? What do I value the most? And what am I passionate about? Number 8, what brings me the most joy and sense of peace in my life? Number 9, what does a successful life look like to me? Number 10, what do others most admire in me? What unique gift do I want to share with the world? And what are my top 5 values? And if you don't know, ask 5 people who know you well. But don't get confused because, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what they think I am. I am what I think that they think that I am. Make sure you ask them because you never know what people think. So what do people most admire in you? Okay, and actually 11 questions. What are your top 10 achievements in life? Achievements don't have to be physical things. They can be emotional. They can be getting through a hard time. Answer that as you will. Alright, I hope this episode